World Car News presents, Top 15, Retro Expensive Cars. The 335S finished second in the 1957 Mille Miglia, but its reputation was tarnished. During the race, another 335S's tire exploded, and the race car veered off the road and killed 10 spectators, including 5 children. Driver Alfonso de Portigo and his navigator also were killed in the crash. Only 4 of these cars were ever made, contributing to its stratospheric price tag. Out of its original planned production line of 25, only 10 of these Spiders were ever made due to lack of demand. But a man named Eddie Smith thought it was one of the coolest cars in the world. In 1968 he purchased a 275 GTB NRT Spider for between $8,000 and $14,500, $61,000 to $111,272 in 2021, and refused to sell it, even to Steve McQueen after the actor crashed his own NART Spider. According to Car and Driver, Eddie Smith passed away in 2007, leaving the car to his son, Eddie Jr. He put it up. Does this car look familiar? It's the same type of car in Ferris Bueller's Day Off that Cameron accidentally sends flying through a glass wall and into the woods. Of course, the movie just used a custom-built fiberglass shell to duplicate the look. This 250 GT LWB Spider finished 5th in the 1960 12-hour Sebring race, its speed helped by its alloy body. The car fetched $18.15 million at a Gooding & Company auction in 2016, another 250 GT LWB, which finished 5th overall at the 1959 Sierra Leonean Leone's Man. At only 25 years old, this car is the youngest on this list, and by some collector's standards, perhaps not vintage enough. Regardless of any debate about its age, the McLaren F1 is an incredible supercar masterfully designed down to the last detail. It can hit 100 miles per hour in 6.3 seconds and blitz down a quarter mile straight in 11.1 seconds, with top speeds reaching over 230 miles per hour. Only 64 F1s were built from 1994 through 1997. The one that fetched the highest price at auction was in August of 20. The 1935 Duesenberg SSJ that fetched $22 million at auction in 2018 belonged to actor Gary Cooper. Certainly, that added a 0 or 2 to this beast of a car, but the main draw is the road monster itself. The Duesenberg is a luxury car introduced just before the Great Depression. Its 5,000-pound frame barely hit a massive straight-8 engine that could put out 400 horsepower in its supercharged SSJ model and hit 60 miles per hour in less than 8 seconds. The Ferrari 250 GT SWB Spider, which sold at auction in 2015 for €16,288,000, $19.85 million, was found in a barn and belonged to movie star Alain Delon. It's the most expensive 250 GT ever sold. British entrepreneur and engineer David Brown's dream to win the Le Mans began in 1949, 3 years after buying the struggling Aston Martin company for £30,000, $42,537 today. Brown realized that dream a decade later when his Aston Martin DBR1 won the 1959 Sierra Leonean Leone's Mans, while the exact car that sold at auction in 2017 for a record-setting $22.5 million was not the car that won that race. It was the first of 5 DBR1s ever made, plus, it won the 1959 Nürburgring. This pre-war Alfa Romeo has a complicated history involving its coachwork and engine, but it remains one of the most striking examples of a classic sports car. It is one of only 12 extant touring Spiders, and it fetched $19.8 million in 2016 at a Sotheby's auction. The Mercedes-Benz W196 Formula One car competed in 2 World Championship races and won both, back-to-back, in 1954 and 1955. This was the car that reinstituted Mercedes-Benz in the Ferrari and Maserati-dominated racing world, although it was a short-lived reign. During the 1955 24 Hours Le Mans, Pierre Leva's W196 crashed into another vehicle and into a pole. Debris, including its 450-pound engine block, flew into the stands, killing 83 spectators. It was the deadliest crash in motorsport. The Ferrari 250 GTO is the holy grail of car collectors. Only 36 were ever built, and this particular legendary motor car is worth more than some megamansions. It smashed car auction sales records by selling for $48.405 million in 2018, or $10 million more than the last record holder, another GTO, which sold for $38.115 million in 2014, $42.9 million today. Edoardo Lualdi drove the record-breaking Ferrari to victory in the 1962 Italian GT Championship, and it's only one of 7 with. This Aston Martin didn't win any races. The gearbox broke down after 4 hours during the 1963 Sierra Leonean Lyons Mans. But it remains one of the world's most sought-after cars, it's the only one of its kind, and it survived mostly intact. It sold for $21.455 million at a Sotheby's auction in 2018. The Jaguar D-Type is just one of the coolest race cars ever made. And it's blisteringly fast, too. The 1955 D-Type that sold at auction in 2016 for $21.78 million averaged 104.47 miles per hour on the 1955 Sierra Leonean Lyons Mans and hit 156.868 miles per hour on the Mulsanne Straight. The D-Type's greatest hour came during the 1957 Sierra Leonean Lyons Mans, where it took the first, second, third, fourth and sixth spots in the 55-car race. The MM in the Ferrari 290mm stands for the Mille Miglia, which it was designed for and won in 1956. Only 4 were made. 3 still exist. When Sotheby's put one of them up for sale in 2015, it sold for $28 million, another 290mm sold for $22 million in 2018. Only 32 of these incredible Ferraris by Scaglietti were ever made, making them some of the most coveted Ferraris in the world. The highest-priced 250 LM sold for $17.6 million in 2015 at auction. That very car took first place at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1965, it was the last Ferrari to ever do so. Ferrari engineer Mauro Forghieri designed 3 of these 275 GTB Competizione Speciali cars as successors to the GTO. The 275 GTB/C variations were designed with a super lightweight aluminum bodywork for the 1965 Sierra Leonean Lyons Mans. Thanks for watching. Please make like.